I'm just going to give you the guts of it. I'm going to really walk you through the high-level strategy and how it applies to your business. I believe really passionately and really, really strongly that lead generation is such an important part of every business. Everything's downstream from lead generation. I have seen so many people who are exceptionally good at what they do, but they're rubbish at generating leads, and they take it personally. They feel like they're not earning very much. They're constantly sweating it with their business. They start questioning themselves, am I any good at what I do? And it's really just the one skill that's missing is lead generation. If they were drowning in leads, if there was just a steady stream of leads, if there was a fire hydrant of leads coming in, then they wouldn't have those doubts, right? Everything's downstream from lead generation. Now, when I talk about a fire hydrant of leads, I'm actually, for most of you, I'm only talking about 3 or 4 warm qualified leads per day. If you could generate 100 warm qualified leads a month, and let's say you could segment that list and have 20 leads that you actually get back to and talk to and have a conversation with, and 4 or 5 of those people become clients, and those clients are 10 to 50,000 each, that's a 7-figure business, right? So you can do a 7-figure business off the back of 100 to 200 leads per month, right? So you don't have to have thousands and thousands of leads. For most of your businesses, you would have a significant impact on your bottom line if you just had a steady stream of a few leads a day coming in above and beyond what you've currently got. So if we go to the news websites and we look at the news websites about 2025 and the economy, it's very, very mixed at the moment, right? So the news is very mixed. It basically says that in 2025, the UK economic growth is robust, a think tank has said. And this KPMG says we're at a crossroads. And this Guardian says we've just hit 100% of debt to GDP, right? So you wouldn't really know what to think of the economy if you were to just look around the news websites at the moment. They're not terribly clear. Here's what I'm 100% clear about. I'm clear that if demand outstrips supply, you've got a successful business. That's it. So you don't have to even worry about the economy. All you have to worry about is, does demand outstrip supply? On day one of every business course, on day one of every economics course, they just simply say prices go up if demand is high and supply is low, and profit is tolerated if demand is high and supply is low. On the flip side, if supply is high and demand is low, losses are tolerated, prices come down. Not a good place to be. So you don't have to worry about the economy because your business is too small for it to really be impacted. What you do have to worry about is being very, very good at manufacturing and building demand for what you do, and make sure you've got a steady stream of demand that outstrips supply. That's the essence of the book Oversubscribed. Okay, so let's get into it. Over the last 20 years, I have been using a strategy for growing all of my businesses, and I've had quite a few. We call this strategy the 3-part year, and you definitely want to take some notes here. There's going to be some drawings and some notes. So this is called the 3-part year. The 3-part year has basically formed the backbone of my marketing strategy for 20 plus years, and it works and it works and it works and it works. Here's how the 3-part year works. When I think about a 12-month period, so 2025, I think about it in 3 parts. I say, I want to have something called a perfect repeatable week, which is the same marketing activity that I'm going to do over and over and over again in order to hit my sales targets. Every quarter, I want to do something called a quarterly spotlight campaign. So the quarterly spotlight campaign is to do something special or interesting or different every 90 days. And then annually, I want to have a big message. I want to have a theme to my year. I want to have like a big message that we're constantly talking about throughout the year. So these are the 3 parts: the annual big message, the quarterly spotlights, and the perfect repeatable week. So the perfect repeatable week is essentially, we take our annual sales targets, we break it down over however many weeks we're going to work. We break it down into what we call how many leads, appointments, presentations, and sales will I need to do, or something like that. So for my businesses, typically, in order for us to grow, we need something like 100 to 200 leads, and we need something like 20 to 30 appointments. We need to do something like 12 to 15 presentations. We need something like 3 or 4 sales a week, right? We break it down into those numbers: how many leads, appointments, presentations, and sales, and we call those our weekly laps. And the goal is with a perfect repeatable week, the clue is in the name. The goal is to do the same stuff over and over and over again. We don't want to get creative. We want to be creative one time and we want to repeat it 50 times. For example, my first business, I ran the same ad in the same newspaper. I think I ran it 43 times in year one. It was the same ad in the same newspaper. I paid for page 21. It was even the same page of the same day of the same newspaper. And we ran that ad every single week for the year. The leads came in, we made the sales, we used the same presentation, we used the same sales script. It was Groundhog Day, week after week after week after week. And that's how we did our first million. When I went to 10 million, we just opened up more cities. We ran ads in more newspapers. So we did the same ad in the same day in the same city, but we did Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne, and Perth. So essentially, what we're looking for is we're looking for a marketing campaign that's Groundhog Day. We just repeat it and repeat it and repeat it and repeat it. Even to this day, where we use a lot of Facebook ads and we use a lot of Instagram ads and all of that sort of stuff, what we're trying to do is keep almost all of it the same. We want to have the same call to actions, the same videos that go to the same landing pages, and we just want to go rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, perfect, repeatable week. We get creative once, and then we just repeat what works over and over and over again. Now, of course, you're going to tweak it. Of course, you're going to make little changes, but you're only going to innovate around the edges to optimize it. You're not going to have to reinvent it every week. I see people all the time. They're kind of like, oh, this week I'm going to go networking, and next week I'm going to go and post on social media for a bit. And after that, I'm going to go do this, and I'm going to get creative every week, and it just doesn't work. You burn out. Okay, so that's the perfect repeatable week. Now, here's what's going to happen. Every week, you're going to generate all sorts of interest and all sorts of leads, but not every week are people going to buy. Let's say you generate 100 leads. You might only get 3, 4, or 5 people who buy from you in the short term, but your database is going to be filling up with 90 to 95 people to maybe even more than 95 people who responded to a campaign but didn't buy anything. So what we want to do is every 90 days, do something different to re-engage those people who responded to a campaign but didn't buy. We call this the quarterly spotlight campaign. So the quarterly spotlight campaign is the re-engage, and this is the thing that makes it different. So the perfect repeatable week is the same. The spotlight is always a little bit different. It's something different that's happening every 90 days. So for me personally, I've done big live events. I've done special guest speakers. We've done book launches. We've had special Zoom events. We've launched a new product or a new update, right? So those are the spotlight events. Give me a wave if you're a bit of an Apple fan. Who here is an Apple fan? You've got Apple products. Yeah. You know that every September, they're going to launch the new phone. And then a couple of months later, they're going to launch the new Mac range, right? So once a quarter, they're doing some sort of special event, special refresh. So Apple's perfect repeatable week is essentially the retail stores are just selling stuff every single day. You walk into a retail store and buy something. That's part of their perfect repeatable week. If you were to be magically teleported into an Apple retail store on any week of the year, you probably wouldn't be able to tell what week it is. But if you were to be teleported to a big event and saw that they were launching a new Apple iPhone, you probably know it's September. So what they're doing is they're doing a perfect repeatable week with the retail stores, but then they're doing special events every 90 days to launch something new or tell us something new about the brand. So we want to do this as well. For a small business, this could be a Zoom call. It doesn't have to be that you're going to do an Apple World event. It could be a special guest speaker that you do something with. You could do a little book giveaway. You could choose your favorite book for the last 90 days and give 10 copies away as a little promotion. And you do a little campaign around your favorite book, right? It's just something different to re-engage the people who are on your database. And then the third part of the year is called the big message or the 7-Eleven message. I won't explain 7-Eleven, but it's the big message. And essentially, it's where you go out and put messages out on social media. And this is just where you keep showing up on social media. And there should be a bit of a theme to this. So you should essentially have a recurring theme where people get to know you on social media. So let's say that you're always out there talking about running your first marathon, right? You should be sharing stories of people who ran their first marathon. You should be sharing stories of what went wrong when someone tried to run a marathon and it didn't work for them. You should be sharing stories of the best in the world at marathon running. You should be sharing stories of triumphs and victories about marathon running. So people eventually get to know this is the person who talks about marathon running, right? So essentially you're just out there talking about this theme for at least 12 months that you keep coming back to the theme. So you'll see that it's a 3-part year, perfect repeatable week, quarterly spotlights, annual big message. And your job as the entrepreneur is to be the architect of that. So your job is to essentially set the wheels in motion. And before Christmas, you should say, this is what we're going to do for our perfect repeatable week. This is what we're going to do for Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4 as our spotlight. And this is the big message we want to bang on about on our social media campaigns, right? When we're talking on social media. And then essentially, if you can get those 3 things put to bed before Christmas, I promise you, you're going to have one of the best years you've ever had just by setting those wheels in motion. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and show you some examples of what you can do. And we'll go through and actually show you some live examples and all that sort of stuff. But essentially, that's the big picture. That's what we want to do for 2025. Before we go in and look at examples, does anyone have any questions about the strategy itself, just to clear up the strategy, any clarification? Or maybe you've got resistance. You're like, oh, that wouldn't work for me, and here's why. Put your digital hand up. There's a reactions button there. Put your digital hand up, and I'll answer any questions. Also, by the way, all of the campaigns I'm about to show you, you can use ScoreApp.com. We've got templates for all of these campaigns. So you can use our templates. They're part of a free account. There's also some added bonuses if you're one of the people who've got a paid account. A paid account starts at about £25 a month, or $30 a month. So for $30 a month, you've got all the campaigns, you've got all of our tools with ScoreApp, but you can actually start with a free account. So Lee will share in the chat the link. If you haven't done so already, you can get yourself a free account with ScoreApp, and then it makes implementing what I'm talking about easy. Because ideas are easy, implementation's normally hard, but implementation's not hard if you've got templates to work from. You just have to customize those templates. 80 or 90% of the work's already been done for you. Tawana, let's hear from you. What's your question?
Hi, nice to meet you, Daniel. I'm a huge fan, to start out with that. And I have to say that ScoreApp over delivers over and over and over. Shout out to everybody on the team. And I do have a paid account. I'm getting ready actually to launch my first ScoreApp quiz next week. I'm so excited about it. And I went for the gold. By the very first one, I embellished the heck out of it. So here's my question. You talked about the annual big message. I am a women's empowerment coach. My target is women of faith. So I do conferences, and would you recommend that a conference in a
conference is a quarterly spotlight, but during a conference, there's all these magical 1-minute moments. And those moments relate to the big message that you want to get across. So when you run a conference, you do a video production, you have a video camera recording the whole thing up the back, and your goal is to try and pick apart and find all the magical moments where people shared a good story on stage. And you also, in the audience, the participants, you want to get them to share their stories, and then you capture that and you share it on social media. So all throughout the next 90 days, you've got lots of content. Now, if you're running 3 or 4 spotlight campaigns a year, you're going to have so much content that you can share on Instagram and on YouTube, all of those sorts of things. And the way it typically works with the big message stuff is you've got a combination of short videos that are 1 minute, and then you tell people, go and have a look at the 10-minute video over here on YouTube. And all of that is just what we call the big message. It just reminds people that you exist and reminds them what you do and why it's valuable. But here's the thing, with the big message, don't talk about your products, right? Don't talk about your products. Think about Simon Sinek. Simon Sinek wrote the book called Start With Why. It's a very famous book, very powerful book. He gets out there and talks about organizations that have purpose. He never talks about consulting packages. You will never see Simon Sinek on social media talking about hire me and my team as a consultant. He only talks about organizations with purpose. So the goal of the big message is not to talk about what you actually do. It's to talk about the big message of why you do what you do, right? So connect with people at that higher level. Sam, let's hear from you.
Right. Hey, Daniel. First thing, I'm a huge fan, very huge fan, ever since I read your first book. I can't
Stop
thank you
it.
enough.
All you guys just telling me you're huge fans. All right, fair enough.
Yeah, yeah. And honestly, today's webinar, I joined here hoping that I'm going to learn some lead generation techniques, but this is on a whole new level, honestly. This is like completely on a different level. I never even thought of that. That the big message and then boiled out a quarter and then to every week. That's amazing. That's the kind of structure I've been struggling to get into. I don't I know something is missing. I don't even know what
There
it
you
is.
go.
I joined the webinar today.
Nice
So
one. Cool.
yeah,
You
big
just
thanks
wanted
for
to,
it.
oh, you wanted to share that. Fantastic. Okay, let's get
I have a
into,
question.
oh, you have a
Quick question.
question. Good.
Yes, yes. So we are a marketplace for software products. Would it be ideal if we are going to have like multiple of these events happening every single quarter or probably every single month? Or should it still be like, for example, we want to have, since we are two-sided marketplace, we want to have events for software founders on one end. On the other end, we want to have such events for marketing folks, salespeople, business owners, and so on and on. So which one would be more ideal? Should we do a lot or should we just still focus on just one event per
So
quarter?
marketplaces are notoriously hard because you have to essentially be attracting both sides of the marketplace at once. You have to
Yes.
have a perfect repeatable campaign for both sides every week. You have to have a quarterly spotlight for both sides every quarter so that you're basically constantly getting enough people on both sides together. You have to have your big message, hopefully, that meets people in the middle. Ideally, one message should bring everyone together. And then you have special events every week for both sides and special events every week, every quarter for both sides. And that's one of the reasons why marketplace businesses are notoriously difficult. Okay, let's get into tactics. So the first tactics we're going to talk about are the weekly tactics. So I'm going to share with you my favorite tactics for perfect repeatable week. These are going to be my favorites. My number one favorite tactic that I have been using for 20 years is called an introduction event. An introduction event is essentially a repeatable introduction event that happens every single week. Now, you can start this maybe once a month or twice a month, but the goal is to do this every week and to have a perfect repeatable introduction event. So an introduction event, normally it happens on Zoom these days. Your goal is to get between 10 and 100 people every single week to jump on an introduction event. Here's the theory behind an introduction event. The theory is that people have gaps in their knowledge. There's gaps as to why they don't already buy. If someone didn't have those gaps in their knowledge, they would have already purchased the thing, right? They would have already bought either from you or from somebody else. So the reason that people don't buy is because they have a gap in their knowledge. And when you plug those gaps in their knowledge, they immediately say, that's all I needed to know. Now I'm ready to buy. Right? So you plug the gaps and you give them what they need to know. So let's say that you are a leadership coach. People might have gaps in their knowledge about the soft skills of great leaders. You could do a perfect repeatable week every single week called the 5 top skills of high performance leaders. And that is your perfect repeatable week. Maybe you're a financial planner and you could do how to retire with more than enough, a weekly presentation on financial planning. Or you could even call it something simple like an introduction to financial planning for people under 40, an introduction for financial planning for people over 40, an introduction to financial planning for highly paid professionals, an introduction to financial planning for entrepreneurs, right? So you could just do an introduction to blank as a perfect weekly introduction workshop. Now, you're going to get to the point where you can run some ads, or you've got some SEO, or you do some social media outreach. The goal is 10 to 100 people on a call every single week. And your goal is that you can do this in your sleep. Let's say it's between 45 minutes and 90-minute presentation, and you just do it in your sleep. You can do it in your sleep. You can repeat it, and it's super, super easy. And you just go, boom, we do this again and again and again, right? So repeat. I have done an introduction to key person of influence for 15 years, pretty much. Now, I've got a team of people who do this as well, but we've been talking about the 5 Ps of becoming a key person of influence for 15 years, and we do an introduction presentation. I can genuinely do it in my sleep. but it's built into a massive global, a pretty big global business. It's an 8-figure business, so it's decent sized business. And we've built that largely with introductions. Now, super simple. You're going to need an asset, which is a landing page for people to register. This is one of the templates there. So free webinar, blank for blank, whatever it is, people need to be able to register. Here's another template, one with a video, learn the 9 steps to do this, register below. The goal is when somebody registers for one of these weekly workshops, the goal is to ask them a series of questions while they register. So to register for your weekly workshop, they have to answer a few questions. There's essentially 3 types of questions you want to ask people. Who are they today? So who are they today? And you ask the question by saying this: which best describes your current situation? Right? So question 1, which best describes your current situation? I'm a founder, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a professional, I'm a CEO, I'm a CFO, I'm a student, right? So which best describes your current situation? Second question, which best describes the outcome you're looking to achieve? Give them a few options, give them 3 or 4 options. Third question, what has prevented you in the past from getting the results that you want? Now, those are the 3 essential questions. They're really good segmentation questions. So where are you now? Where do you want to be and what's in the way? And then the other questions, if you want to, you can ask questions like, do you have a budget for solving this problem? Or if you have a budget for solving this, which budget best describes your current budget? That's a cheeky question, a little bit forward, but you could ask if they have a budget. You could ask them questions like, do you have a dedicated person on your team who's responsible for getting this result? Or you could ask a question like, how urgent is this problem for you? How urgent is it that you get this result? You ask an urgency question. So the 3 ones, you would definitely want to have those, but then you can add maybe 2 or 3 others that help you to better understand them as well. So when people register for the event, make sure that you ask at least 3 to 6 questions to better understand who they are. You don't want to just be going in with name and email. You want to know a little bit about people as well. Okay, so let me give you a little bit of homework here. I want you to imagine you're going to run an event every single week for the next 2025. It's called an Introduction to Blank. Find out how to achieve XYZ result easier than ever before. Figure out what those blanks are, and that's a little bit of homework for you. Okay, as I said, all of these are templates. You can get yourself a free account and you'll see all the templates. You can join starter account on ScoreApp, but 80% of the work's already been done for you. Okay, let's go to our next tactic. Our next tactic is called a discussion group. A discussion group is where you set up a discussion group on WhatsApp, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, and you basically ask people or invite people to join the discussion group, and you facilitate the discussion group every single week. Here's a couple of examples. The 5-day marathon peak performance challenge, 1,200 people joined that. The fertility breakthrough, 23,000 people joined that, right? So these are discussion groups where people are talking about a particular thing that they want to know more about. This is one from a friend of ours called Max. Max created the Family Office Insider group. These are all people who have a minimum of $50 million to invest, either through a fund or a family business. So they're $50 million. He has $10 billion worth of investors in one WhatsApp group because he marketed it. Now, here's the thing with the discussion group. If you want it to feel special, you need to make a special landing page so that it feels special. You don't want to just invite people on Facebook. Let's say it is a Facebook page, that's fine, but you want to have a special way of inviting people into this particular discussion group. It's kind of like if you were going to give somebody some jewelry, you wouldn't hand it to them in a plastic shopping bag. You want it beautifully wrapped in a box. The same with the discussion group. Go to the trouble of doing a really great looking application landing page. And that way it's going to feel special. So get inspired about fitness, join the discussion. Recreation is a key ingredient for blah, blah, blah. Until now, blah, blah, blah. Get this in the discussion group. And then people click the button and they say, join the discussion. They fill in 6 or 7 or 8 questions, and then they join the discussion group. Now, I've had people who launch discussion groups and they average 50 to 100 people a week just saying, can I join the discussion group? So that's 50 to 100 leads every single week of people who want to discuss the thing that you sell, right? So you can do these on WhatsApp, you can do these on LinkedIn. It's a free product essentially, but it's a way of ring fencing those leads into one place so you can have a discussion with people. Once again, you can fill the gaps in people's knowledge to do this. Some people say, what's the best place to do this? If you're dealing with a more business or corporate audience, WhatsApp and LinkedIn are better. If it's a little bit more small business or consumer, it might be Facebook or WhatsApp. WhatsApp probably is a bit of a catch-all. I personally quite like Facebook groups. They're very versatile as a great place to start. One thing you can do is you can do a pop-up discussion group that has a beginning and an end date. So sometimes people do a 30-day pop-up discussion group and you promote it with a start date and a finish date. That can work really well. Okay, so that's tactic number 2. So tactic number 1 is a weekly introduction event. Tactic number 2 is a discussion group. And by the way, you don't have to pick one. You could do both. You could definitely have both here. Okay, tactic number 3 is probably the one that I love the most, right? This one has made me so much money. It's ridiculous. This one's $20 million worth of sales plus off the back of this, at least, actually. That's just one business. And that's scorecards and assessments. So online scorecards are just absolutely awesome. So a scorecard or an assessment, obviously, when you go into a medical practice, they don't tell you what the treatment is. They first ask you to complete some sort of diagnostic. They want you to do an assessment first, and then they tell you what to do. And that is a very, very powerful process called assessment-based selling. Assessment-based selling is essentially you sell the assessment and then you sell the result after they've done the assessment. And it is one of the most effective ways to have a very, very powerful start to the relationship. I'll give you an example. I had a celebrity, a very famous person with over 20 million followers, and this person wanted me to be a business coach and help support them from a business coaching point of view. And when I got on the Zoom call with them and their team, the first thing they told me is they said, Daniel, we're looking at 5 to 10 different business coaches that we've been recommended. Your name has come to us. We've reached out to you, but we're looking at 5 to 10 different business coaches. I said, okay, great. That's a great process. They said, one of the things is this is your opportunity to tell us why you should get us as a business coach. And I said, actually, I don't know if you need a business coach. Maybe you don't need a business coach. Maybe you don't need me as a business coach. I said, why don't we do a quick assessment? And if we do this quick assessment right here on this call, I'll be able to tell you specifically what's going on. So what we did is we did about 7 or 8 minutes where we went through 40 questions on my 24 assets assessment. So in this particular one, I had 24assets.com. We just jumped on, we answered all the questions. It created a report. And then we spent the rest of the half an hour talking through the report. And we actually went drilling into these specific things that they had highlighted that are their areas of weakness. They came back about 2 days later and said, yeah, we've already decided that no one else has done anything like that. That is the most helpful thing. So they signed up for having me as a business coach at a crazy high fee. So the idea is that the assessment did the selling. I didn't have to do the selling. In fact, my stance was maybe you don't need me as a business coach. Let's take the assessment and find out. So super, super powerful. This is called assessment-based selling. Is anyone in the chat? Let me know. Is anyone a life coach? Let me know if you're a life coach in the chat. Have we got any life coaches? Is there a doctor in the house? Is there a life coach in the house? I'm having a midlife crisis. I need some help, right? Okay, so we've got a few life coaches. If you're a life coach, this one I'm about to show you is your best friend in the world. You want to use the Wheel of Life assessment. The Wheel of Life assessment is one of our most popular templates, and it just crushes it. People just love the Wheel of Life assessment. Now, if you're a life coach, this tells you exactly which area of people's life they want to talk about. This is your number one business generation tool if you're a life coach. So this is called a Wheel of Life assessment. Basically, it produces a report that says you score high for career, but you're scoring low for your home environment. You're scoring high for friendships, but low for your health and wellness. So let's work on the things that you're feeling low with. Here's another example of an assessment. This is called the Pitch Ready Scorecard. And it's basically, are you ready to pitch your business for investment? And this one has driven hundreds of thousands of pounds worth of sales for this business called Robot Mascot. I think he said that over 500,000 pounds a year is coming in through just this Pitch Ready Scorecard. So really, really powerful. So think about it like this. Are you ready to blank? Answer 10 questions to find out. So are you ready to run a marathon? Are you ready to start dating? Are you ready to get an MBA? Answer 10 questions to find out. Which type of blank are you? Which type of parent are you? Which type of leader are you? Which type of business owner are you? These are all examples called which type are you? People love this stuff. We've got lots of templates of these. Once again, Lee will share the link for ScoreApp. If you haven't done so already, create a free account, use the templates. You're also going to notice that we've got an AI wizard that does all the work. Please, please, please do not be fooled. The AI does an amazing job, but you have to ice the cake. Ice the cake means finish it off. The AI wizard is deceptively powerful, but when I look at the results, the people who get the best results, they use an AI wizard, but then they change the colors, they put their face on it, they use their personal profile. So by all means, use the AI wizard, but remember, it's only producing sponge cake. You've got to ice the cake if you want it to sell. So put in the time to do the icing on the cake when you're using our AI wizard. Great. Next one, weekly. We're still on weekly, by the way. We're going to get to quarterly spotlight soon, but we're still weekly. Weekly strategy sessions. Strategy sessions are just awesome, except you don't want to be doing strategy sessions with non-qualified leads. Let's imagine you get 100 people a week booking into strategy sessions and 90 of them are not right. And you can clearly tell they're not right. You're going to go crazy trying to keep up with that. That's going to feel like such a horrible job. Whereas let's imagine the flip side, you had a way of qualifying your strategy sessions so that for every 5 people you talk to in a week, 5 of them have already pre-qualified and 2 or 3 sign up as clients. You'd be super happy every time you see a strategy session appear in your diary, in your calendar. So the key with strategy sessions is you don't waste your time on unqualified leads. You only have a strategy session if someone is qualified and they've answered a series of questions that gives them access to a strategy session. Now, let me quickly show you how to do this. So imagine this, someone messages you on LinkedIn. Hi, Raj, I just read your LinkedIn post. Can I pick your brains? Can I pick your brains about a new idea that we're exploring? Hi, Kane, sounds exciting. We use this link to book in for a time to talk, one-to-one chat, looking forward to it. This person then goes to the strategy session landing page. They say, book my one-to-one consultation. They answer their name and email. And then they answer some qualifying questions. How would you describe your current situation? How ready are you to implement? Blah, 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 blah. So they answer a few questions. Depending on how they answer, it then pops up with either A, let's set aside a full hour for a strategy session, or B, let's make time to have a virtual coffee, which is 30 minutes, or C, let's have a quick chat, which is 15 minutes. Essentially, what we're doing here is people don't know how long your typical strategy session is. So by making it vague on the front end, based on how they qualify themselves, they either get offered a 15-minute, a 30-minute, or a 1-hour slot in the diary. So highly qualified people, they get the full hour. Low qualified people maybe get a 10-minute or a 15-minute virtual coffee, something like that. This is such a powerful way to do it. You could also, if you really want, you could say, unfortunately, it doesn't look like a suitable fit. Here's some content that you can consume. Here's a video that I've done. Or it looks like it would be better to join a group webinar that I run once every week. Come along to the group introduction workshop rather than having a one-to-one. Okay, so those are strategy sessions. Let's jump forward to quarterly spotlight campaigns. Actually, before we jump forward, any questions on Perfect Repeatable Week? Does anyone want to ask any questions for those favorite Perfect Repeatable Week ones? We covered a lot. Introductions, strategy sessions, scorecards. Yeah. Chirag.
Hi, Daniel. I'm curious if you can give examples of what kind of events one could run in case of a B2B business.
Oh, B2B is
When,
definitely, yeah, most of
hmm.
my businesses have been B2B. What sort of business have you got?
So we are a company that helps build technical and leadership capabilities for technology companies.
Great. So an introduction to building a high performance technical team in your fast growth company,
Mm,
right? It's an introduction. So every single week we do an introduction on Zoom, how to build a high performance team for your tech company, right? Or
mm,
how to build a high performance technical team, how to lead a high performance tech team, right? Now, if you do that
mm,
every Wednesday afternoon, you get 5 to 50 people who join, your business will explode. Remember, the reason they don't buy what you have is because they have gaps in their knowledge. If they knew what you knew,
mm.
they would buy what you offer. So
Right.
your job is to
Thanks.
make sure
Mm,
your job is to make sure that they know what you know.
mm,
Okay, Tawana.
Yes. So on the scorecard, that's what I'm going to be launching next week. And I just love this again. So you're saying only do it once a week. Is that correct?
No. It's part of the perfect repeatable week. So the scorecard can just be there all the time. The way I do scorecards is once I've tweaked them and they work, I've got ads running to them all the time. All of my social media stuff points to the scorecard. I do book giveaways where the people who get the book get a bookmark that says take the scorecard to get the most out of this. So you just want to embed it so that every single day there's a new person filling in a scorecard.
And I was going to do a pop-up on my website as well, like everything. It's all about scorecard for
Yeah,
me.
that can work so well. If you've got traffic going to your website, how many people go to your website?
About 5,000.
5,000. So let's see if we can get a few percentages of those to fill in the scorecard. We had an incredibly great success story. There was a website called Elite Dating, not just dating, Elite Dating in Australia. And they said, are you elite dating material? Take the scorecard to find out if you're elite dating material. And who doesn't want to know? Like even married people are like, I wonder if I still qualify as elite dating material, right? So then they ask you a series of questions about, are you elite dating material? And they had so many people. They massively grew their business because they just had, I don't know, 40, 50 people a week filling in the elite dating material scorecard. People just wanted to engage. Now, what was interesting is they had thousands of people hitting their website, but staying anonymous until such time as they put the pop-up. Once they put the pop-up, the anonymous traffic turned into leads.
So I carved out a really niche in women's coaching. And this scorecard says, are you ready to be a prayer coach? And so I've actually put an online prayer coach certification program, and I'm funneling
Great.
into that academy. It's called the Prayer Coach Academy.
Yeah, and of course the pop-up needs to explain what that is.
Yeah.
So click here to find out what is a prayer coach and are you ready to be one? So try that. Now, sometimes here's the only thing I'm going to just quickly mention to you, which is there is something called solution aware and problem aware. What you're describing is a solution, right? You're describing a prayer coach as a solution. What you might try as an A versus B, are you ready to play a bigger role in your community, in your church community? Now that is a little bit more broad. Now, what you could do is they could answer 10 questions to find out how to play a bigger role in their church community. And then at the end, it recommends you should be a prayer coach. So,
Daniel, would you also think a question that says, are you ready to empower your purpose? Would that?
I want to be really careful to meet people where they are psychologically, not where you want them to be psychologically. When someone is empowered, they often say empowered with purpose is how they describe themselves. When people are not yet there, they might say, I'm currently feeling disconnected. Or you might say, are you ready to feel more connected? Are you ready to play a bigger role? So you've got to use the language that people use when they're at the beginning of the journey, not at the end of the journey. So try and figure out, by talking to your people, try and figure out what language do they most resonate with when you're meeting them where they are today. So you've got to have radical empathy. So for example, I just got back from a fitness training session. When I signed up for a fitness coach, a personal fitness trainer, he had to use language that would resonate with me, who felt like I'd not been doing a lot in the fitness department for about a year. So he had to use language that resonated. If he had have used like technical jargon, or if he had have used really over the top language about fitness, I might have gotten scared off. So what he had to do is say, hey, look, if you're feeling that your fitness has fallen behind, let's do an assessment. If you're feeling like you've let your fitness slip, then let's do an assessment to see if we can get that up to speed. So he's got to use language that resonates with me at the beginning of the journey, not where he wants me to be 12 months from now. So this is called radical empathy with your customer where they are today, not where you think they should be. Okay.
Great advice. Thank you.
Hello. Hey, once again.
Go for it. Quick questions. Let's go.
Okay, yeah. So in terms of, you have listed like multiple tactics, right, for every week. Should we try all of them, or is it like, should we try one or skip other? That's question number one. Question number two is, should I have this assessment like open, like for all the traffic, or should I keep it specifically when I'm doing like cold outreach to specific people only, like target audience only?
Yeah, you've got to do a bit of trial and error, and you've got to make some educated guesses as to what your market would go in for first. The goal is, I might scare a few of you off. The goal is to have multiple things running every week, so you've got a steady stream of leads coming in. If I was to take over your business, my goal within the next 3 to 6 months would be to have an introduction workshop, a discussion group, an assessment. I want all of those. I want to give people options as to how they're going to come through the front door. I don't want to have a narrow little front door to my business. I want to have multiple front doors to my business. I want leads coming in. Imagine this, if you knew nothing other than this, let's say I said, I'm going to tell you about a business. The business can look after 40 clients per year, and they have 500 people who are signaling interest that they want to be one of those 40 clients. If you knew nothing other than that, would you guess that that business is wildly profitable? Of course you would. That's all you need to know. All you need to know that a business is going to be really profitable is that lots of people want to do business with them and they have limited capacity. So your goal as an entrepreneur is to ramp up those leads. For me personally, I want to have multiple things that people can engage with every single week. I'm going to start with 1 or 2, but ultimately the goal is halfway through the year, there's 3, 4, 5 ways that people could engage with your business on a weekly basis. India, let's hear from you.
Hi, Daniel. How are you? I had a question about the intro events. Do they have to be live, or could you pre-record? And what's the pros and cons?
The biggest pro for doing them live is you become flipping awesome. So basically, like a comedian that tours, if you were a comedian and you did 100 live events at little local pubs and venues, by the end of 100 live events, you are the funniest comedian out there. You're hilarious. We look at Ed Sheeran and we see Ed Sheeran busking on the streets, and he becomes a great musician. When I see people who commit to doing live events every week for a year, by the end of that year, they are genuinely the most articulate person in the industry because they just went through the pain of doing it live all the time. It forces you to tune into your audience. Imagine if a comedian had to create from scratch the Netflix special without going on tour, without being in front of live audiences, and they had to record that and put it in front of Netflix. It probably wouldn't be that funny. It's only through the process of sharpening in the market, not in your mind, that you end up really, really good at what you do. So I'm going to just encourage you to do the annoying thing. Do it live 50 times before you pre-record it. Once you've done it live 50 times, by all means, pre-record.
Thank you.
Very cool. Okay, let's go 2 questions, and then I'm going to get into spotlight campaigns. Felicia.
Hi, Daniel. I'm going to be really quick. I've got 2 questions, actually. If you can expand on what you said earlier on, you said something, I'm just reading my notes very quickly. You mentioned doing our Zoom calls weekly. But you also said something about Simon not selling. So you're not selling your product, you're just trying to fill in the gaps. If you can expand a bit more, tease out what you're trying to say, because you're conflicting.
Well,
If we
yeah,
do say
no,
core, then
I'm not against you selling. I was saying that if people didn't have gaps in their thinking, they would have already bought something, right?
yeah,
So for example, let's use my example. I've just come back from my fitness trainer, so it's fresh in my mind. If I did not have any gaps in my fitness routine, if I knew exactly what to do, if I was motivated to do it, if I knew all the timelines, if I knew exactly all the things and had all the equipment and everything, I'd already be signed up to a gym. I'd already be doing my thing. I wouldn't need a fitness trainer. So it's the only reason that I haven't signed up is because there's currently a gap in my thinking, or there's a gap in my understanding. The thing that I'm saying is that if I knew what you knew, I would sign up. So the more you educate me before making a sale, before asking for the business, the more I'm going to be likely to buy. What is it you do, Felicia?
I do financial education for people. So
Yeah.
people don't, because they're not financially literate. So
So
they don't,
very
they
simple.
don't know what they don't know. So
Yeah, an introduction to becoming a millionaire, an introduction to retiring with lots of money, an introduction to how to get at least $1 million by the time you retire, £1 million by the time you retire. So the reason people would sign up to that is they go, oh, I want the outcome, but I don't know how to get there. So first comes the education, and then comes, let me sign up to what it is that you offer.
Okay, thanks.
So we want to educate people into the sale. Okay, last question, and then we get into spotlight campaigns. Lisa.
Hi, Daniel. Quick question about the discussion group. What is the role? What would my role be in the discussion group? Is it just letting people talk and have the discussion by themselves? Or is it me being active in it?
Great question. So you want to be active. You want to be doing a daily topic. You want to be the discussion leader. I want you to imagine that you are the facilitator, the host. Every single day you say, this is the discussion topic for the day. Now, if you're really strategic, you might ask questions like, today's discussion topic is what has stopped you from getting the result that you want, right? Or today's discussion topic is, what result do you want and why do you want that result? What would that mean for you? And then get the people discussing that.
Okay, perfect. Clear. Yeah.
What is it you do, Lisa?
Life coaching.
Great. So discussion topic number one, which area of life did your Wheel of Life assessment say that you want to work on? Discussion number two, what do you think is the number one thing that holds you back from getting better results with X, Y, and Z? Discussion topic number three, why do you think some people succeed and some people fail, even though they've got the exact same goals? So you're leading this discussion. Every day you're becoming more and more of an authority in people's lives. They're getting to know you, like you, and trust you.
Yeah.
And then you can always say, by the way, if you want to have a one-to-one conversation, message me. Here's the link to fill in and have a one-to-one strategy session.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you so much.
Okay, great. We have just talked about perfect repeatable week. The goal is to set a few activities in motion that can repeat. Every quarter, the goal is to re-engage people with a quarterly spotlight campaign. And this is where you're going to, let's say you've got 100, 200, 300 people who came through your campaigns in the last 90 days. The goal is to now do something that re-engages them. Let's talk through what are some of your options, some of my favorite options. Okay, so our quarterly spotlight campaign, campaign 1, campaign 2, campaign 3, campaign 4. Okay, the first one that I really like is special guest speakers. I love having a guest speaker. Reach out and find a guest speaker, someone who's non-competitive to you. They don't do the same thing that you do, but they're complementary to what you do. If you're a fitness trainer, have a guest speaker who's a nutritionalist, or have a guest speaker who is an athlete who's won an award. Right? I've always had like guest speakers who are business leaders, or I did a whole series with the dragons from Dragon's Den. All of that was really, really good. So you want to reach out and do some guest speaking, have a guest speaker. So every quarter you say, yep, we're doing a little summit. It's on Zoom, right? You might say there's only 10 tickets available, or there's 100 tickets available. You could find some people in your network, put that together. That's going to be a really good option. So having a special guest speaker on Zoom is a really good way to re-energize people and re-engage people once a quarter. That's one of my favorites. It doesn't have to be super long, could be 30 minutes to 90 minutes, a guest little mini TED talk, but it gives people a reason to remember that you exist and to remember that you're good at what you do, right? So that's a guest speaker. Okay, our next one is called a mini course. A mini course is where you do 5-minute videos and you basically do a mini course that unpacks a key idea. So Felicia, this one's for you. This is one of our templates here, the Financial Freedom mini course. This 3-part video series helps you to plan, prepare, and save for retirement. 5-minute video explaining what is planning, 5-minute video explaining what is preparing, 5-minute saving and investing, right? So you put together a little bit of a mini course. These templates already exist. You just plug in your images, your information there. When people fill it in on the back end, there's just a spot there to upload your video. And you basically want to have some little videos where people can go in and actually watch the videos and do the mini course. We've got templates for those. Super, super easy. Don't overthink it. 5 minutes, 3 videos to 5 videos. Keep it short, 20 minutes tops. The best mini courses that I've ever created are 20-minute lessons, but we break them down into little lessons. The thing that makes it a mini course is pausing at the end of 4 or 5 minutes and giving people a little bit of an activity to do. Write down this, do this, find your data around this. If you want to make it a better mini course, you can have a PDF document that gets emailed to them and they can basically have the PDF. And now it feels like a mini course because it's a series of videos and all of that. Once again, it's a quarterly campaign. You could do a new mini course every 90 days, or you could have 2 mini courses and you alternate back and forwards between them. You could collaborate with someone on a mini course. So let's say you get 3 people that you know who are complementary, and you have 1 video about fitness, 1 video about nutrition, 1 video about personal style and appearance, right? You put those 3 videos together in a mini course and all 3 of you can promote that as a spotlight campaign. So that's mini courses. Don't feel overwhelmed. There's templates. 80% has already been done for you. Alrighty. Book launch. Every 90 days, you could do a book launch. So let me talk about book launch. You could either launch your own book. I'm a big believer that the book that changes your life is not one you read, it's one that you write. So you could do your own book launch, and here's Gabriella doing her book launch, and here's Investable Entrepreneur being launched. So you could do your own book launch. The other thing you can do if you really want to is find an author who's not Malcolm Gladwell, who's not J.K. Rowling, right? Find an author who's written a book. They've launched a book in the last 6 months and do a little collaboration with them. So say, I really loved your book. I'd love to host a mini book launch on Zoom where we invite you to give a talk about your book. We will buy 50 copies of the book for our clients and they will register. They'll get a free copy of the book. They'll also get a Zoom workshop with you and me, and we'll do a collaborative little mini book launch to promote your book to my list. Now you think to yourself, why am I promoting their book? You're choosing a book that is complementary to what you do. You're choosing a book that helps make the case that what you do is valuable. So it's very careful to select the right one. Let's say, for example, that you're a fitness coach. You might want to do a book launch around Atomic Habits and say, look, Atomic Habits is my favorite book on building great habits. We're going to do a discussion on Zoom. I'm going to give everyone a copy of Atomic Habits. We're going to watch a video of the author of Atomic Habits for 20, 30 minutes together, and then we're going to discuss. So you can do something around that as the book becomes a bit of a focus. So that's a good one. We have lots of templates for launching a book as well. Seasonal focus. So there's 4 quarters, there's 4 seasons. You can do a summer campaign, a winter campaign. You can do a Christmas campaign as your spotlight. What's coming up next is Black Friday. Now, last year, we discovered Black Friday. I've never been a big Black Friday guy. I've never really shopped Black Friday offers or deals. I've never paid any attention to it. I don't really care about Black Friday. It's not like a big thing that I've ever thought about. But somehow we did a Black Friday campaign last year and ended up making £28,000 a month worth of recurring revenue by doing a silly little special on Black Friday. I'm sitting there going, you guys love a deal. You guys love a bargain, right? So I had no idea that this was such a big thing, but it turns out it's a big thing. So this year, what we've done for our clients is we've created Black Friday templates. So you can just plug your offer in, and it's got a countdown. It's got like different images. You can just plug in your images there. There's even a waiting list to join the waiting list to see your Black Friday offer. If you want to keep the Black Friday offer away from most of your database, you can say, we're doing a waiting list. Join the waiting list if you want to see the Black Friday offer. So then you get a double opt-in for the Black Friday deal. And that way you don't have to promote publicly what the special offer was, so that you don't annoy everyone who's not on the list. So that's a good way to protect and shield that offer from most people who don't care about Black Friday deals. Anyway, those templates have just gone up there. They're going to only be up there for the next 30 days or 40 days until Black Friday, and then they'll come back down. So we'll only have those in the template library when they're relevant, but they're currently relevant. So for the next 45 days, you'll have the Black Friday offers in the template library there. Okay, let's go for my next favorite one. And this one's a biggie. Oh, I'm in love with these. Waiting lists. Waiting lists are where you ask people to join a waiting list for something that's coming in the future. This is so cool because this allows you to launch something big with very low risk. Elon Musk launched a Cybertruck 3 years before the factory was even built, stands on stage, tells people it's coming, asks them to put down a $100 deposit on the waiting list, and sells 1 million Cybertruck reservations. I launched bookmagic.ai off the back of a waiting list. It looks like we've got a business there, but actually all we had was a ScoreApp landing page. We got 750 people to join the waiting list, and a huge percentage of them came in and told us exactly how much they were willing to pay. And it was higher than we thought, right? So we thought that most people would say less than £30 a month, but actually most people were saying over £30 a month, which was pretty remarkable. So waiting lists are great. If you know that in the year ahead you want to launch software, launch the software waiting list. If you know that one day you want to launch a book, do the book launch waiting list, right? Before you've even written one page in the book, launch the waiting list for the book. If you know that you want to do a retreat, launch the waiting list for the retreat. All right, so whatever it is, you can do a registration of interest. Let's say you want to become a professional speaker. Do the expression of interest page for you to become a professional speaker. So something along those lines, launch the waiting list for any of those. Really, really powerful. So waiting lists right up there. Okay, so those are my favorites for spotlight campaigns. Guest speaker, book launch, waiting list, seasonal campaign. Those are my favorites for the quarterly spotlight. Let's get a couple of questions and then I'll finish up with the recap. Teresa, let's hear from you.
Hi, thanks so much for taking my question, Daniel. I just wanted to go back to when you were talking about the intro events and possibly working up to weekly or bi-monthly. I guess sometimes when I advertise live events on my social media, I don't always get a huge take up. So I was just curious to know, for those of us who have a relatively small following at the moment, do you just rinse and repeat until the word gets out there more? Or my offering is a little bit niche, so I'm just worried that I might exhaust my pool.
What is your introduction event?
So I'm a pediatric occupational therapist and I specialize in working with children who have complex feeding challenges. So it's parents who are really struggling with their children's eating.
Yep. So you may want to use direct messages where you just send 50 or 100 direct messages out to people in parents groups. There are definitely things like existing discussion groups for new parents. So for example, here's how I might do it. If I was running your business, I would have a discussion group for new parents. It's a discussion group for dealing with the challenges of the first 2 years after birth. If you've got a baby that's under 2, join the discussion group. I would promote the hell out of the discussion group, but the top pinned post would be join our weekly Q&A session.
Okay, I love it, yeah.
So every Wednesday, pick a time that is suitable and just say, every week we do a live Q&A. Join us for the Q&A on Zoom. If you're dealing with any challenges, any problems, jump on the Zoom call. Let's do the live Q&A. every week I show up for my community, and any questions you've got, we go there. So the goal is to have 100 to 200 people joining the discussion group every month. The pinned post is the live Q&A. So you join the discussion group, you join the live Q&A, and then you become a customer.
Amazing. Okay, thank you so much.
Nice one. Sam, you've had a couple of questions. I'm going to skip because there's a few people who want to ask their first one. Let's go, Tiffany.
Hey, thank you so much. I'm so happy I'm here. I saw this email like 5 seconds before it came on, so that's why I'm wearing a hoodie. Anyway, I'm here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. I am a founder of a new marketing agency. Really, we provide fractional seat services to mostly roofers. So I'm also launching this full service agency kind of now, but really want to take advantage of Black Friday because that's such a thing in America. So what would be your advice? Like, how would you go about doing something? I have a full service that's proven, but we're still a new company.
Yeah, so definitely come in guns blazing. So your weekly introduction will be how to grow your roofing business, an introduction to marketing roofing, or how to grow your trade business, an introduction to successfully marketing trade businesses such as roofing, flooring, etc. You might do Black Friday, join our Black Friday waiting list to get access to our Black Friday offer. Based on how many people join the waiting list, you then come up with what is the Black Friday offer. If you only have 3 people on the waiting list, the Black Friday offer might be a high value consulting package that you can do. If you have 300 people on the waiting list, you might do a Black Friday offer to get access to a free mini course on marketing that people can get completely for free that's worth $39. So you could do it that way. You could, for you mentioned that you're in Oklahoma. I really want you, for this type of business, I really want you to be thinking as much as possible, how do you go global straight away from day one? From day one, how do you grow your first campaign could be in the US, maybe even Oklahoma, but really you want to solve a particular problem for a particular type of person, no matter where they are in the world. Be a global business, start delivering more on Zoom and remote, so that your business can be a high value supplier no matter where someone is in the world. If they're here in the UK, they can sign up and go for it, and they're super pumped to get started. They can jump on your call, they can jump in the discussion group. So just be sure to make sure that you remove the Oklahoma part from all your marketing.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the goal. Awesome. And then this might be the very basic question, but besides just social media, would you run funnels? Would you run ads? I'm going to do that, but what is your 30,000-foot view on executing?
Here's how I always start businesses. I personally start businesses by sending 3,000 direct messages. So that's my starting point. I'm going to reach out on social media. I'm going to find 3,000 people. I'm going to send them a direct message and say, I'm launching a business that does this. The reason I'm launching this business is because I had a great success with this, this, and this. Here's the backstory. If you're interested to know more, let me know, and I'll send you some of the materials that we're creating at the moment. So I'm sending 3,000 DMs in month one to just get some wheel. That works out at about 100 a day in month one, right? So cold direct messages, these are how I'm getting started. As soon as I possibly can, I'm going to try and get some ad spend where I like to spend about 8 to 10% of revenue back into ads. So if I've got a business that's doing 200 grand a year, I want to spend 20 grand a year into ads. And then as it gets to 300 grand, I'm spending 30 grand a year in ads. And as it gets to $1 million, I'm spending 100 grand a year on ads. So I like that. And then I've got 2 fast growth businesses in my portfolio. One, we're growing incredibly fast from SEO, social search engine optimization, and content. And the other one is
of my services.
So Instagram ads is driving one, and content and SEO isn't driving it very well. And the other one, ads aren't working very well, but content and SEO is working really well. Essentially, I'm agnostic. I'm just going to try stuff, and the goal is I can't stress this enough for everyone. The goal is spending money. The goal is not you start out with your time, but as quick as possible, you want to be able to spend. And the reason you want to spend is because you want to figure out what is an allowable cost per lead where you're happy to spend $10 generating a lead. And then can you generate 100 leads a month for $1,000? Can you generate more than 100 leads a month for a few $1,000s? As soon as you figure out that spending power, you can throttle the business growth up. So there are certain businesses where it takes me 3 to 6 months to figure out how to spend money. But once we spend money, we can spend 100 grand a month and the business just goes whoosh. So the goal is to figure out, because your time is not scalable, but your money can be scalable very quickly. So the goal is as quick as possible, figure out how do I spend money to win a business, win a customer at a fair price. Okay, Mona, let's hear from you. I'm then going to finish up and I'll do a bit of a soft finish, and then I'll do some more Q&A, and we'll lose people along the way as they get bored with it. So we'll see if we'll see how long we can sustain this thing. Mona, let's hear from you.
Hi, Daniel. Thanks for picking me. I'm a big fan. I'm based in Amsterdam. So I'm launching a new SaaS platform. It's for LinkedIn outreach, basically for agencies, for sales team, how you send LinkedIn messages and connection requests. Everything is going to be automated. So I'm 3 weeks away from the actual MVP. I have about 52 signups for beta users. These are beta users. Now, after listening to your webinar, I was thinking how to use the Black Friday deal, because I'm already going to give them a good deal because they are, going to test it. But then the actual product is going to be launched in January after I have the feedback, after all the bugs are gone, etc. So how do I use Black Friday?
Yeah, look, perfect scenario with a SaaS product is, especially this kind of one, is don't try to automate with software. Just take on 10 clients that you do it all by hand. For example, if there's a software platform that's coming, just say the software platform launches in January, February, but for our first 10 clients, we're literally going to pick up the phone and talk to you every single morning, and then we're going to get to work, and we're not going to interact with you through the portal. We're just going to talk to you because we want to get to know you and know whether it's working faster. So I'll give you an example. When we launched ScoreApp, we just built Score apps on WordPress one at a time, and we just spoke to our clients. We only had 10. So we just talked to them every day, and we just figured out what they needed and how to build it on ScoreApp, build it on WordPress. So we called ourselves ScoreApp, but we didn't build any of our own technology. We just stuck it all on WordPress in a very non-automated way while we were just getting used to our 10 clients and figuring them out. So just treat those first 10 clients as just hands-on, non-scalable, talk to them every day, create a little Excel spreadsheet as a dashboard, and just tell them, this is, you're part of our first 10. This is the hands-on phase. This is the good old days type thing. But limit it to 10 people that you can do that for. Okay, let me just quickly pause.
Sure. Thank you.
My pleasure, Mona. Let me pause with the Q&A. I just want to let you know, a big question that people always have is the question, how do I drive more people to the campaign? We created something called the Lead Generation Toolkit. And the Lead Generation Toolkit is all of those spreadsheets and all of those campaigns and all of the resources that we use to drive people, lots of templates for different campaigns. That is available when you're on a paid account. So as soon as you're on the $24 a month one, you're going to get all of these templates, all of that you'll actually see that appear in your portal. And that's called the Lead Generation Toolkit. And basically what it is that it's just everything that we've got as far as how do we drive more people to the campaigns. Now, you can get a lot of value on a free account, but as soon as you go to the £24 a month account, that's where you'll start getting some of the more advanced stuff that we've got for you. The other thing I'm going to let you know, a little bit of behind the scenes, a little top secret squirrel, is that we're getting ready to increase the prices of these. We actually haven't raised the prices since 2020. So it's been 4 years since these prices have been valid. We're about to bump them up a little bit. So the new prices are going to be based on US dollars $49.99 and $149 a month. And then we're going to launch Enterprise at $849 a month. So that takes you up by about 20 to 30% on the current ones. But here's the secret squirrel. Secret squirrel, anyone who's currently a paying customer, we're going to just freeze your account on whatever you're paying and it will be new customers who pay the higher amount, right? So we actually don't intend to raise the prices on our existing clients. We intend to increase the prices for new signups. So Secret Squirrel, if you want to get a great offer and stay on a great offer, great squirrel, great offer, then jump on sooner rather than later, because we're literally putting the final touches on those price rises at the moment. Yeah, so jump on in. It's something that SaaS companies do called grandfathering the price. I don't know why it's called grandfathering the price, but that's what it's called. You grandfather the price. Maybe you pay what your grandfather paid. I don't know where that comes from, but you are going to grandfather the price for you. But that's only if you're already an existing customer before we put the prices up. After that, we're going to be fair and consistent with everyone. So there will be a line in the sand, and you'll say, oh, but last week it was a little bit cheaper. And we'll say, I'm so sorry, we're going to be fair and consistent with everyone. Going forward, it's this price. So keep that in mind. Use the link, sign up, get the lead generation toolkit, and get yourself grandfathered in. Jeremy, let's hear from you.
Hi, Daniel. So I'm looking to launch a SaaS product. I've just about 3 weeks ago started creating content just to raise the awareness.
Nice.
My question is it too early, or could I start with these tactics right now?
Oh my goodness, Jeremy. The funny thing about a SaaS product is more than half the battle is just engaging the customers to learn about the product. Launching a waiting list is so much better than creating an actual product, because you get to get feedback from what customers actually want. Doing an introduction event, an interactive introduction event, super powerful. So you just want to be able to engage customers as soon as you possibly can. Having one-to-one strategy sessions with potential customers, even if your product is $10 a month, have one-to-one strategy sessions to talk to people about signing up, what their expectations will be from a $10 a month product. When I do coaching with SaaS founders, one of the things that we get them to do is 30 one-to-one sales meetings, even if their product is like cheap, even if it's $5 a month per user, we're getting them to do one-to-one sales meetings to try and sell a $5 a month subscription, or even if it's a freemium model, we want them to do at least 30 one-to-ones, even just to sell a free product.
Okay. So nothing's been built yet, so I'm trying to de-risk.
That's it.
Yeah, I think
that's the most professional way.
I think the wait list is I think the way I'm gonna go. I'll probably sign up.
I'll tell you one of the things. I invested in a company once, and the guy came up to me at an event, and he had this big stack of iPads. And I was like, what is this? And it turns out they were made of foam and cardboard. And what he had done is he created these cardboard iPads, and he had a story about his product, right? And he basically said, first you go to the landing page and click this button, then he throws the iPad on the ground, then this page appears and he throws this on the ground. So he had these probably 15 or 20 slides that he had built into these iPads that he could hand you the next one and hand you the next one, and then take it off you and give you the next one, give you the next one. So he created these fake cardboard iPads, and it was so compelling that it's, damn, this is going to be great. Like, I can see it. So he built that before he had any technology or any code, as a way of getting people to engage with the product in a real way, like it's on an iPad. And it was also super simple for his designers and developers to make changes. When I gave him some feedback, he flipped the iPad on its back, and he had a section on the back that said notes, and he wrote my notes on the back of that particular screen. And when he took it back to the office, he actually had the notes right there on the back of the iPads. Super clever. Andrew, let's hear your question.
Hey, Daniel. So my question is around the tension between demand and supply, and wanting to work hard at getting leads in, and they're coming, and I'm doing some work around weekly webinars for interested people. And my product, by the way, is a camper van that straps onto a pickup truck. So it's a new style. It's called a demountable. But yeah, man, it turns heads. It's great. But what I don't want to do is to devalue the brand, and I don't want it to become a commodity, and I don't want interested people think this is an interesting new type of product. I want to learn more about it. I'm trying to ways of filtering out those that are just really, really keen versus those that are just interested and curious. But I'm still grappling with how to maintain the brand integrity and the almost slightly premium nature of it.
Don't be too precious at the beginning. How many of these can you make per year?
Oh, I'm not making them, I import them, but we could do 30, 40.
Amazing. So tell people we only have 30. We're taking a waiting list and we're prioritizing people who are really out there to have an adventure. You have to sell us on why we should give you one of the 30, because in 2025, we've got, let's say 40, right? We've got 10 per quarter. What we do is we want this to become a brand. And in order for it to be a brand, we have to have people who already have adventures planned. They're going to use it. It's not going to be something that sits around growing mold. It's something that gets regular use. We're not going to sell these to people unless you've got proof of adventures, right? So we want to see your POAs, proof of adventures. So you basically, ideally you run a campaign that generates 300 or 400 expressions of interest, and you tell people we've got 40 of these that we're building. We've got 400 people who want them. We want to give them to the coolest adventurers that are in the group first. So this is your chance to pitch to us. Tell us why you should get one.
Okay. Because often some people that are in touch are existing like camper van users, and they're weighing up the idea of selling that, then buying a pickup truck, and then buying this. So it's a fairly long sales decision for them and a conversion of one.
The real trick is to try and flip it on its head. You want to flip it on its head rather than you pitching them, you want them pitching you. So you basically, if they say, I'm not sure why I should have this, you say, that's totally fine. We've got 400 people who want one. We can only get 40 in.
Yeah.
We're happy to just work with the people who are we're looking for the adventurers who totally get how this fits in their life. In order to be allocated one, you've got to commit that we can take photos. You're going to share some of your adventures on social media. We want to work with 40 amazing adventurers throughout the year to make sure this product speaks for itself about how great it is. And we want the testimonials and the case studies. We want the images. So if it's not for you, that's totally fine. We've got plenty of people who are trying to get one.
Cool. Nice. All right, cool. Thank you.
Nice one. Terry, let's hear from you.
Hi, Dan.
Oh, just quickly, before I move on, Andrew.
Yeah.
We have this client called Bunky Life. They're a Canadian company. They created a quiz called Are You Ready for the Bunky Life? And this is about building a cabin in the woods, not dissimilar to what you're talking about, similar types of people. They have blown up their business in a good way with the amount of bunkies that are selling off the back of Are You Ready for a Bunky Life?
Okay.
They just have, I mean, since we first got to know them, they were doing like 2 million. I think they're up to 14 million a year worth of sales. They're really blowing it up.
Nice. Cool. I'll look it up.
Nice one. Okay, David, let's see. Oh, who was next? Sorry.
It was Terry.
Go for it, Terry, yeah.
Yeah, just a quick question. You said that you reach out 3,000 direct messages. Where do you find the relevant clients to reach out to?
People who they might already follow, right? So the main accounts that people would follow, there are groups that are already on LinkedIn, groups that are already on Facebook. There are hashtags that people use on X. There are Reddit threads. Basically, people have already organized themselves into groups. You just got to be a little bit creative about how you find the people who have already gathered. So what is it you sell, Terry?
It's a new startup company. It's a sustainable solution company. So it's reaching out to hotels that are using single-use plastic, and it's coming up with an alternative for them. We would just be the middle company, really. Would be shipping in from abroad. So it'll be like a quality control company, really, a shipping company.
Yeah. So pretty easy to find boutique hotels.
Yeah.
You know, Google Maps has got them. There's directories of them. There's awards for them. There's even sustainability awards for hotels. You can reach out and say, we noticed that you're a finalist in the sustainability awards for small hotels. We thought you'd be interested in this new service that's going live in your region, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, thanks, Dan. I just wondered because I see them and they're all like, they say, oh, we're scraping companies and stuff. And
just remember this. Remember this. The hard part about business, for 99% of businesses, the hard part about your business is winning the customer. That's the hard part. What most entrepreneurs do is they think about the easy part, which is delivering the business. The truth is that the entrepreneurs that I know that are the most successful financially and having the best fun times, they totally embrace winning the business, and then they bring on a team to deliver the business.
Yeah.
So really, if you ask yourself, what is your job as the entrepreneur? Your job as the entrepreneur is to find and manufacture demand, not find and manufacture the thing.
Yeah.
The thing can take care of itself if you can manufacture the demand. When I use the word manufacture demand, I want you to just almost imagine that the desire that people have for what you do is like a little seed, and you've got to water that little seed and grow that little seed into a big tree of desire, right? It's or think about it like it's a box of Legos. Your job as the entrepreneur is to put the desire Legos together so they all click together, and then someone goes, now I get it. Now I know why I want to do it. Any business where you're really just middlemaning something and it's not that hard, it won't be that profitable. You'll put a lot of time and energy in, but it won't be wildly profitable. So we've got to figure out how do we do the thing that most people aren't willing to do or aren't creative enough to do in order to get an edge in this marketplace.
Thanks, Dan. Appreciate it.
Nice one. David, let's hear from you.
Hi, Daniel. Nice to meet you. So I am from the Caribbean, and I have a company that does mobile x-rays, ultrasounds, and other medical tests at patients' homes. And I'm having a bit of a challenge trying to figure. So I basically have two sets of clients. I have doctors that would refer, and then I have patients that would reach out directly.
David, I'm so sorry. Your audio, is it just me or is everyone else having a hard time getting it? Yeah, the audio, unfortunately, it's a little bit underwater.
I'm actually traveling, so I guess the video is using up bandwidth. Is this any better?
It's not great. Can I come back to you if we've got time?
So
maybe just write your question into the chat.
I did already.
Okay, I'm just saying we don't have great audio, buddy. So sorry. Dom.
Hi, David. Daniel, crikey. Just a quick one for Terry. There was an independent hotel conference this week over 2 days in London, so check those out. But mainly for you, I run a high net worth insurance brokerage, and the problem with that is clients have 95% retention with their existing broker. Breaking into a new market and getting them to trust you, because I'm not reinventing the wheel, I'm just making it more round. So how do I enter into getting those new clients with your methodology? Because I'm not sure putting a Black Friday deal up to sophisticated buyers is going to...
No, it's not.
It won't work.
No, but what would work is a scorecard. Would you qualify for life insurance paid for by your company that's tax deductible? Would you qualify? Do you qualify for that? Answer 12 questions to find out if you could have life insurance paid for by your family, by your business as a business expense. Right? Now, what people could do is they could answer the 12 questions and find out, do I qualify for that? Because I know that some organizations have something very similar called key person insurance or key man insurance, whatever you want to call it. And it's a type of life insurance that can buy out the shares in a company and all of that sort of stuff. It's continuity insurance. And it's a very similar product to life insurance, but you've got to be a certain type of entrepreneur, a certain type of structure. So people could answer a set of questions, and then they opt in, and whether they qualify or not, you can have a conversation with them about life insurance. You could say, do you have a risk of your business partner having an adverse health event or death and it totally disrupting your business? Have you planned adequately for that risk? Answer 10 questions and find out. So an assessment could be that. You could talk about the 10 biggest risks that we've seen behind the scenes as life insurers or as high-end elite level insurance brokers. And you could say, there's been some big shifts in the last 5 years. Let us share with you what we've noticed in a 30-minute presentation. You could do a mini course understanding the top understanding the top products that very few families have, such as family office, whole of life insurance that you can take out on multiple members of your family that recharge the loans that you've lent family members in your family office.
Listen.
No, I'm not going to listen to that. Thank you.
Okay, I understand. I feel like I understand that, but these guys don't really care. These ultra high net worths. They
Dom,
often...
look, it's really simple. If you're just going to pitch that people don't care and there's no way to get through to them,
You wanted to smash us.
That's your answer. The thing is that if something's hard, that's why it's profitable. If it was easy, everyone would do it. If everyone did it, it wouldn't be very valuable, right? So this is an idea for everyone on the call. If it was easy, everyone would do it. If everyone could do it, it wouldn't be very profitable. So it's only profitable because it's hard. So you're either going to throw time, creativity, or money at the problem. You're either going to be more creative in the way that you reach people. You're either going to be more exhaustive in the way that you reach people, or you're going to outspend everyone. And those are your only weapons. Your only weapons is to be creative, to throw time at it, or to throw money at it. So that's all I can really tell you, Dom. Like you've basically, here's the thing. I personally know if I entered your space, I would crush it. Right?
Well, I'll get 10% equity if you want to.
I would be making millions of pounds if I entered your industry. How would I do it? I'd have a perfect repeatable week. I'd have a quarterly spotlight and I'd have a big message. I'd do book campaigns. I'd do weekly introductions. I'd have opt-ins, because I know that 99 out of 100 people might not fill in a scorecard, but 1 in 100 will, and I'll sign them up as a client. I know that 99 out of 100 people won't jump onto a mini course, but 1 in 100 will, and my mini course will be available for them. I know that not everyone jumps onto a special event, but I'm going to run a special event and 10 people are going to jump onto a special event. I'm going to sign them up as clients. So I know that if I just execute the basics, I know I'm going to build a fast growth business. Remember this, a fast growth business only has to grow at about 2% a month, and you are faster than like 99% of all businesses out there. So if you've got 100 clients and you get 2 new clients a month, you are a super fast growth business. So just focus on that compounding effect. Double it, double it, double it, double it. But ultimately, business is pretty simple. You either throw time at the problem, money at the problem, or creativity at the problem. Those are your only 3 weapons.
Thank you.
Nice one. Paul.
Thanks. I smoke fish and sell fish. I sell to hotels and retailers, and it's really just how I would work that through your system in terms of how I would pitch that to customers.
Yeah, you might do something like, would your restaurant benefit from high quality organic smoked fish as a menu item? Would you be able to make more profit if you offer this? Is this suitable for your customers and clientele? So you might do something like that. You might do an introduction Zoom workshop where you actually just show people around, literally do a virtual tour. You might do a video tour of your facility. But ultimately, whatever it is, figure out what can we do repeatedly every single week. How can we engage people over and over every week? How do we then do something different every quarter, and get on the front foot with it? All businesses, the smoking the fish bit is the easy bit. It's the getting people to care about the smoked fish that's the hard bit.
Exactly, I know. That's what I found. Yeah. Okay, thanks, Daniel. Cheers.
The funny thing is, though, is people are actually surprisingly simple. That they're going about their daily lives not caring about smoked fish, and then you remind them this is why you should care about smoked fish, and they care for about 5 minutes, and then they forget. But then 90 days later, you give them another reason to care, and they go, oh, that's right, I was going to order smoked fish. I know someone who built a $20 million business in Australia, and all they did is they had teams of people who went around the neighborhoods, and they had them dressed as fishmongers, and they had these big esky containers, and they said, hey there, we're in the area, we've got fresh seafood available, we stock some of the restaurants in this area, we've got excess fresh fish this week that we just need to get rid of at a great price. would you like some prawns? Would you like some salmon? Would you like some oysters? We've got fresh off the boat, but we have to get rid of them. And they used to just have teams of people up and down the east coast of Australia going through the neighborhoods, just selling tons of fresh fish. And the reason was they just knocked on people's door dressed as a fishmonger.
Okay, you're right. Thanks. Cheers.
Nice one. Alrighty. Let's do 2 more questions. Sanjeev.
Hi, Daniel. I've been hearing quite a bit of things which you've been saying, and I already have made up my mind. The book launch is definitely there. I'm already progressed midway through. January is tentatively when I'll be handing it over. So I think 3 months, that's where it comes down to. Then it comes down to private tours, like a workshop. I have 2 sets of clients. One, which is the national oil companies. I'm into oil and gas project consulting.
Yep.
So that side is the project development side where you de-risk.
What's the context, Sanjeev? What's the question?
My question is, what would you advise a lawyer? Now, why I am specifically asking this is because the other side of business is claims. I make huge money for the clients, and actually I also get quite a bit of money out there. So claims, I'm extremely good. But when I see the claims guys, it's something like the lawyers. And every lawyer brings certain thing from his mind. So my specific question to you, if I want to launch my work as a lawyer, what would you suggest to a lawyer? How to go about it?
So I worked with law firms over the last few years. I had a law firm that ran an introduction to contract law, an introduction to signing big deals, an introduction to signing a referral partner, introduction to putting together a advisory board, these kind of things. They were running these every single week, introduction to this, introduction to that. And they're just running these little introductions every week. People would jump on and 30 to 45 minutes worth of information, 10 minutes of Q&A, and they grew their law firm out of sight. And then every quarter they were doing hero workshops with, today we're going to do a conversation with someone who's just done an M&A deal and they've bought a competitor and we're going to unpack the deal. And then I heard that their business had gotten itself into trouble, that they've basically gone flat. And I spoke to the guy, I said, what's gone wrong? Oh, we've gone flat and blah, blah, blah. The market's dried up. I said, are you still doing those weekly workshops? No. Are you still doing the quarterly spotlight events? No. When did you stop doing them? Oh, we stopped doing those about a year ago. Okay, when did you go flat? About a year ago. Oh, okay. So I said to him, I said, let me tell you a little story. I said, I was driving down the highway and I was doing 100 miles an hour. And then I took my foot off the accelerator and the car slowed down. And I just sat there and it kept slowing down and slowing down and slowing down. And it eventually came to a complete stop. And then I realized that I'd taken my foot off the accelerator and that probably had something to do with it. So I put my foot back on the accelerator and it started speeding up again. And it was like, oh, okay.
But one question.
The answer is businesses are very simple. When we put our foot on the gas, they go faster. And if we take our foot off the gas, they go slower. Your product law is by definition hard for people to understand. The whole legal profession is built on it being hard to understand. So an introduction to making money through a claim, people are going to jump onto that. An introduction to oil and gas law, people are going to an introduction to securing an oil and gas site legally, people are going to jump onto it. I know it sounds silly, but these kind of tools, yeah.
What I'm seeing on LinkedIn is essentially the same kind of a content being done.
Okay, let me pause you there. Let me pause you there. Sometimes we see stuff on LinkedIn and it's the same kind of stuff that's being done. And the reason that we're seeing it and the reason that it's the same stuff from everyone is because it's working. Okay. Sometimes the reason, like the top 10 companies are all doing the same things because it's making them a fortune.
All right.
So if 10 companies are making money doing the same thing, be the 11th.
Okay.
We don't need to reinvent the wheel. The truth is too, every single person in every single industry thinks that their industry is saturated. And the reason you think your industry is saturated is because you're paying such close attention to your own industry. The guy who smokes fish, he's going to sit there and go, oh, the fish smoking industry is saturated at the moment. Everyone smokes fish. There's 500 different fish smokers out there all saying the same thing. I've never heard of any of them. So the key is that, Sanjeev, have you been on YouTube or Instagram in the last couple of months? Have you noticed those short 1-minute videos by gurus where the gurus like myself give you 1-minute little snippets of nonsense, and it's just they're always
what I've been doing is essentially
have you noticed those?
I do.
Yeah, all the gurus do them. Do you know why all the gurus do them? Because they just fill your account. They just absolutely grow. They scale your account. You go from having 10,000 followers to 20,000 followers to 30,000 followers. Because it works, everyone does it. So sometimes you see stuff over and over because the top people have figured it out. That's what's working right now. So if 10 people are doing it, be the 11th, and the world's got room for 11 millionaires.
Thank you.
All right, Richard, last question.
Hi, Daniel. How's it going?
Very good, thank you.
Good, yes. So I've joined a couple of your webinars, and actually I'm trying to get involved with the Net Universe. So I'm trying to make my first sale to get involved with you guys, yeah? But my question is really quickly is that you were mentioning to quickly make your business one that can go worldwide. I'm operating in the Caribbean now as well. For me, it's very niche in terms of just in the place that I'm from. But how do you get that idea to scale and to go bigger than what it is just regionally?
Yeah, the key is from day one or tomorrow, start describing your business as solving a problem for a certain type of person, but don't use the word where they live. So what is it your business does?
So we do environmental services as well. So I'm an environmental consultant, and what we're doing is helping businesses get environmental health approval through the government.
How many clients do you need in order to do $1 million worth of sales?
So I already did that calculation, probably about 50 monthly.
50 clients a month.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you got to figure out, are there 50 clients a month in the Caribbean? And if not, you're going to have to figure out how to do this remotely so that you can sign up 50 clients, because there's definitely 50 clients globally. So you want to become a particular expert in a particular type of problem that people can access you through. So the key is to play around with this idea of, I solve this exact type of problem for this exact type of person, and it's a high value problem, and I can help you no matter where you are in the world.
Okay.
A great example is we worked with a financial planner, and she was basically describing herself as a financial planner. And then she said, I work with rural families who own farms, and I work with them to help pass on their farm for 2 generations. And we do a family code of conduct. We do family values. We do family retreats every year. It's more about the family bonds and connections than it is about the financial planning, but the financial planning is done as well. And
Right.
She basically became an expert in rural farming family businesses that want to survive for 2 generations or thrive for 2 generations. Now, as soon as she got clear about that, she went from being Sydney-based to having clients Australia, Brazil, Japan, New Zealand, all over the world, clients saying, oh, that's us, that's our family farm. We need that.
So it's more about getting the clarity done and just to see where it can actually fit in. Because I know that compliance is a big issue, like worldwide now, but there's different compliance in different countries. If that's something that you focus on, then it could scale from there, I'm guessing, right?
Yeah, that's got a much bigger future than being geographically bound. Because if you're geographically bound, people can fish in your pond, but you can't fish in their pond. If some Silicon Valley company comes up with a way of doing it with AI, suddenly they come in and deal with your customers, but you can't deal with their customers. So that's the problem. We don't want to be geographically locked. Okay, let's finish up there. Quick recap. Very simple. I want you to be thinking about 2025. I want you to come up with, between now and Christmas, a perfect repeatable week, a quarterly spotlight, so 4 of those, and an annual big message. What is the one big message you want to keep coming back to on social? What are the 4 big events that you want to do throughout the year? And what is the one perfect repeatable week that you're going to repeat again? Remember that all of these have got templates to help jog your memory. We've got all these amazing ways for you to generate leads with the lead generation toolkit. ScoreApp is being used by some of the best influencers in the marketplace. So you can use the templates, you can follow in the steps, you can download the book Scorecard Marketing, lots of resources. Every single week, we have something called Set Up and Score, where we actually help you get set up. We've got a challenge around getting your first 10 leads. So we're really dedicated and focused on getting you those 10 leads through the door. We've got loads of templates and it's cheap. Starts with a free account and 24 a month, 49 a month, 82 a month. Like it's pretty cheap. That's the pro account. Very affordable as well. Keep in mind, every lead is an asset, right? Every time you generate a lead, that is a new asset for your business. Leads, and everything is downstream from lead generation. If you can solve lead generation, you can solve almost every other problem that comes downstream from that. You can build a business off steady lead generation. However, you could have the most amazing product and service. If you can't generate the leads, it's game over. So everything comes downstream from lead generation. So make this a real priority for the year ahead. Let ScoreApp help you. We want to make sure that we can help you as much as we possibly can. Thank you so much. I hope you have an amazing end to the year, right? Thanks for joining me on this. Have an amazing end to the year. I hope you have a really successful Black Friday campaign, and I'll catch up with you soon. All the best.